in
Is he?
there. Hello.
Oh, he looks sad. Hello.
It looks
It looks kind of sad.
very, very pathetic.
Clyde, say hi to the people.
Relax. Okay, I need to turn.
Notifications.
Just laugh.
Okay. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Hey,
We're right on time here.
Only 12 minutes late
12 minutes late is pretty good.
for us.
Yeah.
That's why I said 7:30-ish.
I was thinking it would be close to 8,
Yeah.
but we did good.
We knew it was going to be like that. But we're here.
Yes.
And we're ready to
Welcome.
rumble.
Yeah, we're gonna let some people join. How's everybody doing tonight? Where are you watching from?
Hi, Idaho.
Wow.
Hey, Washington State.
Hey, Melissa.
We got Eric and Clyde down here. They're kind of off camera, but don't worry, Clyde is here for support as well. He likes to love on us.
He's trying to get in it.
Got England in the house.
Yeah. I guess we need to mod some people because people are
Maine, Franklin.
childish.
Salina, are you in here?
But can't you operate the?
Yeah.
You can do stuff on there, though, right?
Mm-hmm. Should be able to.
On both of them.
Arkansas.
Actually, he didn't call me the N-word because I'm not an N-word. I'm Jamaican. So he didn't call me the N-word.
Fuck that old raggedy piece of shit.
Got them already. But yeah, so welcome to another one of our Survivor streams. We've done a couple of these before. We like to just kind of open up our platform and let survivors come on and tell a story or tell their story. Also, just to talk with you guys about the effects that child abuse has in adult life. Opening up that conversation too. That is a hard conversation, but it's more common than people think. So we also like to discuss just things related around kind of what we do and why we started. A big reason why Predator Catchers operates is to be the voice for survivors, to stand up against online child predators. Kind of, a lot of kids don't have a voice. It's scary to come forward. There's many reasons why people don't want to speak up. And we want to be here in support of you and to show you that you're not alone. Unfortunately, this happens too commonly, and it's really not talked about. People get uncomfortable. Sex obviously is an uncomfortable subject for a lot of people, and having this conversation about sexual abuse is another very uncomfortable subject. But it's happening, and we need to talk about it and learn ways to prevent it and help people start to heal in the process, whatever the process may be. And there's a lot of studies that show that a lot of child abuse victims, they don't come forward right away. Typically, you come forward later in life as an adult. And we want to give a safe space to people to kind of just talk about it, the effects, what you do to help through those hard days, because we all know there's hard days that come with it, and it really does seem to help with a lot of people, giving them suggestions on those hard days and making friends. We have a great community here at Predator Catchers Incorporated, so in the chat, talk with each other, and you never know, you might meet a friend for life through this chat.
Happened before, for sure.
I'm just excited to have you guys all here and open it up. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link in the chat, so I'll just drop it throughout. We're going to just talk, and there's no really timeline on this, and so sometimes it takes people a little bit to want to share their story. So If you just want to write your story and us read about it, read it. If you want to do it another time and you just kind of want to be here, that's also awesome as well. So I'll just drop the link. And
Yeah, you can join just like some of the others with photos. You make your name photo. You can join anonymously.
welcome.
I think it's Rumble.
Yeah, I'm on Rumble too, right here.
Oh, okay.
Well, right here. Oh,
Everyone just coming in.
What's happened?
what'd you say?
I have to refresh that or something.
No,
What?
it's just not working. I don't want to have any like issues.
Sorry. Should I never even say anything about it? Oh,
It doesn't.
he looks sad. Oh.
It says we're still live. Okay.
Sandy said,
Little memento, por favor.
stage. Do you really think we would stage something like this, Sandy?
Just go ahead and pick one. I don't even need to address people that come here. If the mods are in here and go ahead if you know.
Bye, Sandy Cheeks.
And just let everybody know too in the beginning too, we're not gonna tolerate any kind of fuckery in the chats. It's not the time for that. We have plenty of streams where we will fuck around. We can troll, laugh, whatever, but this is not the stream for that. It's not the time. And if you are that type of person that comes in here and really does that, super sad. And I honestly hope you get hugged today because you truly have no love in your heart. Because I don't even see how you could even comprehend getting on a stream and trying to troll on something that we're trying to make a safe space. And we won't tolerate it. So you'll be kicked out of here. So
Not at all. I think we have our first person. We're going to bring him
I'm not very.
in.
Hello. Welcome.
How's it going, guys?
Good.
What's up,
All right,
what's
Sam? Is it Sam?
Yeah,
How are you?
doing pretty good. I don't know if you guys know who I am or not.
I see in the streams.
Yeah, I've seen you in the chats before.
Yeah, so I started up Washington Predator Poachers back in September.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So a lot of people in our community have seen what I've done. My second exposure was exposing my abuser.
Oh, wow.
Nice. I didn't see that. I didn't know that. I have to check it out. Is it up?
Yeah.
Is it up anywhere?
Yeah, it's on my Rumble. I don't know if you guys mind if I just throw it out there.
Throw it out.
Yeah.
Throw it out.
So it's Washington Predator Poachers on Rumble. The video title is 25 years in the making. Basically, me, my wife, and my son went down to Longview, Washington, and exposed my uncle, who had abused me for about 3-4 months. Anything you can imagine except for penetration happened.
Yeah, it's gotta be rough, man.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
That's for a family member to do that. That's just
Yeah. And the whole time I was confronting him about it, it was deny. You know, he never got loud about it or anything like that. It was just the passive bullshit.
Right.
Yeah, that's huge as a male to come forward because we know and studies show that a lot of males don't come forward because of the stigma. So thank you for sharing your story and doing what you're doing because you're going to help so many people by just standing up and knowing that this wasn't your fault and sharing your story with people, because it's hard, and I'm sure it was a moving piece. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Those really hit me, you know. So definitely.
Yeah.
If you have the link, drop the link.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that after I jump down here. I do want to give you guys a special thank you to PCI, Eric, Shonda, all you guys, and also to Alex. You guys inspired me to do what I'm doing. You know, everybody in the community has inspired me to confront my demon, and possibly help with inspiring others to confront theirs. And you know, it led into me catching preds myself.
Yeah,
You
that's
definitely are.
that's very cool that you stood up and taking a stance on this stuff, bro.
Yeah, it's an evil world that our kids are having to live in.
For sure.
That's the truth.
Do you mind if I ask you some questions about that? Like,
Yeah, go ahead.
so how long did it take you to? So when was this when you confronted him?
I was 9.
Or when you confronted him?
Oh, I want to say it was like October of 2023.
Okay, so you said 9.
Yeah,
that's when it started.
Yeah, it was me and my cousin. But I think over the years he may have brainwashed him just enough during the exposure. He ended up calling my cousin, and my cousin was denying everything and trying to say that, you know, as years go on, our memories, you know, change information, whatever he was saying. But it 100% happened. I don't know why he would want to deny it, but
How your cousin, is he younger than you?
yeah.
How old was he? How much
He
younger?
had to have been like 5, 6 years old, something like that.
It was definitely gonna be harder for him to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might not be
It's another
ready
way
to
to
face
cope,
it.
you know?
Yeah, it's definitely another way to cope, to act like it didn't happen, because you're not ready. You don't know how to handle those emotions, and you don't. Some, you know, people will feel like a victim, or, you know, like have that mentality where they think it's their fault, they did something wrong, so they kind of put up that wall and act like it didn't happen. And
Yeah.
also it's very unfortunate.
Right. I was gonna ask. So when did you first come out and like say that he was doing this?
I didn't even tell my dad, and I'm super close with my dad, but I didn't even tell my dad until probably around June last summer. It's you know, it's always been that baggage, you know. It's like seeing counselors, seeing therapists, seeing psychiatrists as a kid. Into my teenage years, I became a drug addict, trying to, you know, artificial happiness, right? And that led me down some really bad roads with meth and ecstasy, and you know, I was a meth addict for about 4 or 5 years, to the point where one of my best friends, or who I thought was my friend, was a cook. And then it just, I ended up getting with my wife, and she got me clean, and dealing with anger issues and stuff like that. It was a rough road. And coming forward with it, it's a big relief off my shoulders.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like talking about it, it helps kind of process what happened and move forward. And when you're young too, sometimes you don't even realize, like, maybe you might know something's bad, but you don't know the magnitude of it until you're kind of adult and you're like, I can never, hurt a child in that way. And then you realize, it's kind of almost a little bit easier as an adult because you kind of can help with those emotions, not blaming yourself and protecting them. Sometimes you'll want to do that. So it's huge that you're able to come forward. Do you feel like it was easier to confront him after your first exposure? Is that why you waited, or
Yeah.
kind of helped?
I had to do my first catch first. Yeah.
And
That made it a lot easier. I mean, even we had to stake out my uncle's house for about 6 hours waiting for him to get home. And that whole time it felt like I was in cardiac arrest. My chest was thumping so hard. But at the same time, it did make it easier actually talking to him, that I had already confronted another predator. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like after the first confrontation, it's a little bit more ease, I guess, and it's not as scary. And you probably have a little bit power back after that first one. Probably helped kind of go forward in exposing your own abuser. I'm sure. I mean, I can't even imagine. I commend you for doing that, because I'm sure that was extremely hard. And you just sharing your story right here, showing that it did help. Actually confronting your abuser and letting them know that they don't have that power of you anymore, and you're taking it back, and you're going to empower some people by sharing your story. So thank you.
Well, like I said, the big thanks goes out to teams like yourself.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
means a lot.
Is there anything that you want to say to people that are that went through that and they're afraid of coming forward, whether it be talking about it or confronting their, or maybe
other than before actually confronting, it's way easier talking to other family members, like your parents or your brother, your sister, what have you. It definitely helped me knowing that my family was backing me before I even did it. I told them that I was going to expose him, whether I have their support or not. And they're like, what are you talking about? We support you 100%. If that's what you got to do to get some closure, do it. But as far as like emotional weight and, having to just thinking about it all the time, it relieved a lot. There was a lot of emotion that I held on to for a long, long, long time. It's 20 some odd years of just battling my own demon, the memories and everything else. I mean, it's not gonna completely get rid of everything, but it definitely helps.
Right. For sure. So you didn't have to deal with any family members or anyone you told. You didn't have to deal with anyone not believing you or anything. Everyone pretty much believed you and supported you.
Say that again.
So you didn't have to deal with, because I know it happens all the time where someone will get abused as a child and the child will come forward and the parents won't even believe them, or people won't believe them. So you didn't have to deal with any of that.
Not really, no. I mean, for me, the therapist and stuff like that, it didn't even help.
You said it didn't help?
No, not one bit. Because we're talking that was in the 90s, right? So all the behavioral medications and stuff like that were coming out. So they basically turned me into a guinea pig. Let's throw this kid on Ritalin. Let's throw this kid on Adderall. Let's throw this kid on Paxil. All these different medications, and none of it helped. Some of them actually had adverse reactions to my anger levels. So it's, for me personally, I'm sure it's a case by case deal, but therapy and stuff like that did not help.
So you said you just kind of told your family about it recently. So when you were a kid, did you tell anybody or try to tell anybody what was happening?
I initially tried telling my dad, but I almost felt like he wouldn't listen to me, you know. So when it initially happened, right, what ended it was my grandmother walked in and on me and my cousin practicing, right. So the way my uncle did it was, when he was gone at his father's house, he would tell me and my cousin to practice so that we would have more knowledge or experience for when he got home. And we're talking, my uncle at the time was a junior in high school, you know.
And I don't know if you see that with decoying, how much you decoy, but you'll see that even with the predators where we're decoying, they'll tell them to practice with their friend. We'll just try it with your friend and try to make the kids do stuff. So
it's typical pred behavior.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That was a question I wanted to ask. So it's kind of hard asking some of these questions because it's like real sensitive subject. So
I mean, I'm willing to answer anything as long as, names ain't dropped or anything like that.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, like, if I ask a question that's too much, then I apologize, and you can say you don't want to answer.
No, you're fine.
It's hard to know where the line is, But so did he ever like threaten you or tell you, you better not tell anyone, or did he encourage you not to tell anyone, or he just assumed that you wouldn't?
No. So what he did was he used his toys as a ploy. So he had a collection of old school Hot Wheels and Legos and stuff like that. And even during the confrontation, I laid out the whole room in front of him, just talking to him. I was like, I remember everything, right? So for the longest time, me and my cousin weren't allowed in his room because of whatever. He was a teenager. We're little kids, right? But then he started allowing us to play with his Hot Wheels and his Legos and this little wooden town that he had for your cars. And in turn, we had to do sexual acts. But it was, if you tell anybody, you don't get to play with these toys no more.
Right.
So that was the only thing he ever, I guess, threatened, was just taking away toys, right? There was no, I'm going to kill you or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's a lot. It's very common with that you see some of this happening with predators that are in kind of the teenage age, and it's harder to distinguish that kind of data. But it's very common that a lot of times predators are preying. They might be about that age, and they're preying on a younger victim, and it's scary. It happens more often than not, and usually it's within a family, and it's hard to. That's why I asked if you kind of talked about it when you were a kid. I'm guessing that a lot of your behavioral problems started acting up probably after this happened, and
yeah.
Did you feel at the time when you were in therapy, did you want to tell them that kind of stuff, or you just didn't think they?
Well, I mean, I tried telling my therapist, but they all basically called me liar. Almost every single one. You're not quite telling the truth. We don't believe you, type stuff, and so I just kept my mouth shut about it.
Wow.
Tried to bottle it in. And as a kid, that makes it really difficult, especially when you're coming into puberty and you're already getting those anger levels. That made it worse. So.
Wow, I'm so sorry that you weren't believed and that you had to deal with that, but that is what happens a lot of the time. Is That's why a lot of people don't want to come forward. Is they don't, if they tell one person they don't believe you, they're going to bottle that up. And like you said, with it kind of went into your drug addiction, and why you kind of landed in that. You're trying to self medicate and figure out these thoughts in your head because you go to tell somebody and they don't believe you. So it's like, what do you do with that? Where do you go? And there's not a lot of resources out there to support people in that position and kind of help them, and how to help them through and heal, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on and just sharing that, because it just really opens people's eyes, seeing, we can talk about it, but you coming and seeing you and you sharing that puts it in. Sometimes people need to see that, puts it in perspective. So
Yep. And I'm open ears. Anybody can hit me up on Instagram. I mean, it's privatized, but just throw me in a message and we can talk. There's no, I got no qualms about it. I'll help anybody,
Very nice of you.
yeah, we have a lot of people
The-
commenting. I don't know if
Yeah, if you
anybody
want
wants to ask a question in the chat, if anybody wanted to
If you
ask.
want to drop, I don't know if you've done it already. If you want to drop your links again, or if you haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I will when I hop down here.
Okay, right on.
So if you guys ain't got nothing else, I'll go ahead and jump down.
I don't think we have any, but I'm not sure. I haven't been reading the chat, so
I said not yet.
yeah, I don't think there's anyone wanting to come up yet. So
All right. Well, I'll just jump down. You guys take care. Thanks for having me up.
Thank you so much. And I know there's some people in the chat talking to you, so check it out. I think some people are reaching out, and
Yep.
they want to say thank you for coming up here. Like I said, you sharing that, talking with us. You've helped so many people, and knowing that they're not alone. And just thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. You guys take care.
Thank you too.
take it easy, man.
See you soon.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Let's throw some hearts in the
Yeah.
chat for
Already started
Sam. That was amazing to come up here and let us ask him some questions too. Like Eric said, it's kind of hard. You don't want to trigger anybody, or do anything, but we appreciate him opening up, because it does give us some insight on some things, like even as parents, maybe your kid acting out, maybe there's a little bit something more to that. Maybe you might need to have a talk with your child. And
Yeah, I never really thought about that. I mean, in the 90s, everyone was on medication. Any child that was
acting
too
out.
wild, or like Shauna said, acting out, I mean, they were put on Ritalin. So I think that kind of opens up a lot. Statistics will change. That'll come out eventually, guaranteed.
Yeah, and that's the other reality. A lot of child abuse survivors turn to drugs when they get older. You're trying to deal with these emotions, and you self-medicate because there's not a lot of resources out there. So, and this is what Predator Catchers is trying to prevent. We don't want the victims. We try to provide preventative work and stopping these guys and getting them arrested before there are victims, and sharing what we come across as we're decoying the modern signs of how these predators are operating. Because his story was someone close to him, but we all know that they're out here preying on stranger children all the time. So
yeah, we caught a predator that admitted that he had done that with his younger brother as an older brother. So
you're talking about two-timer.
yes.
I can't think of his name.
Jeff?
Mm.
I can't remember his last name.
Was it Jeff?
Earlier?
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name either.
Do you want to
Laura, help us out, Laura.
Greg.
Who are you talking about?
Greg.
No,
Jeff.
Portland.
Was it?
Portland, the curly hair.
Caught him twice.
We caught him in Muncie, and then
I can't remember his name.
Costner?
Yes, Jeff Cosner.
Yes, and he's
Jeffrey
still in
Cosner.
jail. But he wrote in detail how he did stuff to his brother. Yeah, vivid details.
Yeah, not to the decoy, like just on an open platform reminiscing it with people. It was
disgusting.
yeah. And if you haven't heard that call, it should be on Facebook. On PCM Facebook.
Did
Yeah, I
you-
saw a lot of people on there. Yeah.
I'm gonna drop the link again if anybody wanted to come
So
up or even come up and
you-
talk about anything, or it's open forum.
You had someone that wanted to read, or
Oh yeah.
wanted us to read theirs.
Yes.
You can do that if you want. And if anyone wants to share, you don't have to show your face on camera or anything. That's
Yeah, Megan, we do these periodically. We try to make posts coming up, so we'll have another one soon. So look out. We'll try to post those on our Facebook and stuff.
Thank you. Dan.
Or if you want to message us, Megan, too, we can set up time here in a couple weeks to have another one. We usually, that's kind of what we do every couple weeks, I would say, maybe a little bit longer.
I see Sam back in the chat.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Do you want to read it? Or Eric, do you want to read it?
Either or.
you can. You got this.
There you go.
Oh, sorry.
Do you want me to read it?
Well, I was just making sure that. Okay. Yeah, you can say. Do you want to read it?
Sure.
Maybe just not that part, but
Okay, this is someone that wrote in, wants to share their story. I'm gonna read it out here. I stay anonymous and can't tell anyone my story because my kids are involved in the church and everyone we know are mutual friends with this guy. I don't want to put my kids in the middle of a bitter woe story. When I was 14, I was confused about who I was and trying to make it being a teen. I went to a Christian school and this 18-year-old boy who was a supposed devout Christian started talking to me. He was a senior in high school and kind of the leader of the school. Everyone respected him and saw him as a role model. I started sending notes to him. It was the 90s. And he expressed interest in me. He said he hadn't been with a girl for a year. That was a lie. And told me everything I wanted to hear. He made it seem like I was his girl. I never thought anything about the fact he destroyed all our notes after we read them. One day he came over and took advantage of me. At the time I thought it was fine and kind of cool. I was having sex with a legal adult. The next day, he spread rumors about me, made fun of me, and never talked to me as a decent human being again. I felt betrayed. I'm not sure if I'm even allowed to call myself a survivor because he was 18. Ironically, his kids went to the same Christian school my kids went to. I wanted to out him to whoever would listen, but I knew that would hurt my kids. I ran into him a few years ago and he didn't recognize me and asked who I was. My mom was with me and screamed, "You screwed her." He then remembered me. He made excuses saying he wasn't saved yet and he's now a pastor. I feel no closure or that he's paid for all he's done. He gets to be a well-off pastor with a wife and kids and everyone thinks he's perfect. I now look back on all of it and I feel disgusted. I was 14. I was a kid. He made me feel good just to shoot me down and make me feel like some kind of slut and not good enough. He knew damn well what he was doing. He's sick. Thank you so much for sending that in. There's just several things. Thank you for being so brave to sharing that. I don't want you to think that it's like your story is not less than somebody else's. Like, I don't want you to feel that because you were 14, he was only 18, that takes anything away from that. He definitely knew what he should do. I mean, you've been an 18-year-old before. You would never do that to a 14-year-old child. He knew exactly what he was doing, and I'm so sorry that happened to you. And it is so common. Like I was saying in the last one, a lot of the times it might not be that big of an age gap, but there is a power struggle there, and you're still a child. You don't even realize it when you're 14. I mean, I remember being 14, 15, and if an older guy liked me, it was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And then when you get older, you realize, oh, this person was preying on me. They were using their position of power and their age and taking advantage of me. And I'm so sorry that happened to you. And thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, that dude is a scumbag for sure. What you said about when you confronted him or whatever, he said, "Oh, I wasn't saved yet." Like that is such a cop out.
Mm-hmm.
That is such a cop out. I can't stand people that claim Christianity and they do things like that. Well, I wasn't saved yet, so I guess it was okay. What? Remember that pastor that stood in front of his congregation and pretty much admitted that he raped one of the girls, and at the end of it, he got like a standing ovation from the congregation. They all just started clapping.
Why?
Like,
Because he got saved afterwards.
I don't remember exactly what he said, but
No, he was a current pastor at the time.
Oh.
I mean, the feel was similar to what she said, that guy said, I wasn't saved yet. Like that was the same. It was the same kind of energy. I don't remember the exact words of the guy, but it was very similar. Like,
It's a very relatable story for a lot of girls.
And thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that probably going to open the eyes of a lot of people.
Yeah, and for him, even though the age gap wasn't as big, 18, 14, still technically illegal.
It's a mindset difference.
You might say, because you might think, I think what she say, she's not sure if she should call herself a survivor. She said that. Well, that guy's I would say you are, because that guy is a complete scumbag. Like, if you're doubting, you're not sure, is this guy really a predator or not? The age gap was so small. But just the things he was doing after it happened, him outing you and making fun of you after he did it, and then him saying, "Oh, I wasn't saved yet," that just shows what type of person he is. He's a predator. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's done this to more girls. Could be still doing it.
Yeah, that's when you stated that he didn't remember you. Was my thought, is there must be many more.
Yeah, and I hate that you kind of use the same whoa story. Like, what happened to you was wrong, and he clearly took advantage of you. And I hope just opening up a little bit helps you with that healing process to know that you did nothing wrong. Like, of course you're going to be, captivated by a popular older guy that's interested in you. He took advantage of you. Like, you did nothing wrong in that. And I hope it's hard, and he might seem like he has it all or not, but there'll be some light on his darkness at some point, and karma will come around. And just know you got to be strong for your kids and talk with them about the dangers of even that kind of behavior of entrusting someone that might be a couple years older than you, and kind of knowing those signs of when it's appropriate, not appropriate. And it's a talk that a lot of parents need to have with their kids, because I'm sure if you're just coming out to this day, I'm sure at that time you were definitely thinking like you're not going to share that with anybody because you think it's your fault. So
it sucks the power that they have, or they think they have, or the power that they actually managed to get, because like her story, she can't really come forward because it could potentially hurt her children. Like, And these predators know that.
Mm-hmm.
They know that they can do some, they can take advantage of a kid or whatever, or a girl, maybe not even a kid, just a woman, rape them or whatever. And they know they won't come forward because it could ruin their life, ruin their career, ruin the children's
He's
lives.
a pillar in the community, apparently.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, let's just be honest with it. Most people don't believe people of sexual abuse. Most of the time, the standard is people question them instead of like it should be we believe you first. But for some reason, a lot of times people don't want to believe it happened, and I don't know anybody. I mean, obviously it happens. People lie about sexual abuse, but I'm going to say that's very rare compared to the times that people actually come forward and speak about their sexual abuse. It's most likely true, and it did happen.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, it's most likely true when someone says it happens. But I don't not believe somebody. Don't just say, oh, I don't believe
Yeah.
them. Like, ask questions, like look for evidence and stuff. Yeah, but don't just not, believe somebody. And that's why I think, man, people that lie about this type of stuff, they should get some serious punishments. Like you should be in prison for lying about sexual abuse or coaching a kid to lie about it. Like you should be in prison because then that happens. People start to not believe people that it really happened to because it does unfortunately happen that people lie about it. You should be in prison if you lie about something like that.
Yeah, for sure, because it takes away from
people
coming forward. As hard as it is just to speak about it, I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, there's so many studies out there. That's why the true data is not there because people don't come forward with this stuff, and we don't even. This is why we want to talk about it because we don't even know how to combat it because we don't have the true data on it. So we know it's happening, but at what times, and most people don't open up because of the fear of not being believed, and then a lot of people are not going to go to the police about it. And I talk about this sometimes, we get questioned on our evidence, and sometimes we are put in positions where it's like they'll question you. I mean, they're hard on you and they want to know the evidence. I can't imagine being like a survivor and not have, like, we have the black and white evidence, like we have that stuff, but like not having that and going through something like that and trying to go to a police department and have them question you. It's so much strength for people coming forward and doing that because it takes a lot. I'm sure it is extremely hard, and I can respect anybody that truly, goes after their predator and tries to get some justice out of that.
Yeah, I read something the other day that said the average age for people who come forward is 52.
Really?
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
That's crazy.
It's definitely believable, though.
And
that needs to change. I mean,
mm-hmm.
Think about what that number can be in 10 years. Hopefully a hell of a lot lower.
Yeah, and that, and again, that's why, prosecutors, they need to start taking groups like us seriously because we're trying to prevent that happening. Like we're trying to prevent there being victims that have to come forward and tell a horrible story in front of a whole bunch of people they don't know in a courtroom. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why they should take our group seriously, because why would you want to potentially allow that to happen because you have some kind of weird judgment towards groups like us? I mean, what's better, like, or what's worse, a group like us, doing a case, staying and doing a sloppy job, or letting a guy go and him potentially raping a kid? Like, I mean, what's worse? Everybody in the live is PCI.
Yeah, we're all PCI.
If you guys want to come on and join us and tell your story, the link should be up there just
But-
a little bit.
But everybody on the panel can say whatever they want to say, of course.
You can come in through that link anonymously. You choose your name, photo, if you want to come anonymously. If you want to come as yourself, by all means.
Kevin, yeah, you can message our page too right now. We can read a story too. If you don't want to come on here, I understand getting on camera and being on a live. is scary in itself, let alone trying to share something so personal. So please, if you rather just put it in the chat too, we can read some of these comments as well. I see people sharing some of their stuff, and we can read that too.
Thank you.
Hey, Eric, Shauna, and Brooklyn, your mic is muted.
Yeah, we know.
Sorry.
I was saying something. We were saying
Okay, I was just making sure.
something.
We're gonna bring somebody else up here. Hello. Can you hear us?
Yeah, what's up? How's it
Hey,
going?
how are you?
Good. Just wanted to thank you guys for all the work that you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been following you guys for a few years now.
Really? He's
Yeah.
OG.
I know it has been a couple years. It's crazy to think about. But
Yeah. I don't know. I've been trying to think about what I want to say because I was abused when I was younger. And it wasn't until recently I realized how impactful it actually affected my life. Because I'm 33 right now. And my abuse happened when I was 7. And I didn't even consider it abuse because I didn't see anything was wrong with it. But looking back, it's amazing how much it affects our ability to grow as an adult because sex is supposed to be an adult thing. That's supposed to be one of the best pleasures in life, not one of the worst moments of our life. And even though it wasn't bad back then, what I experienced, it affects everything that I do nowadays. And I can only imagine what so many other survivors go through. I'm lucky that my situation wasn't violent, brutal, or crazy traumatizing in my mind. Even though I'm realizing it now, I realized like how I make decisions and how my mind works. Because like I'll admit, growing up, I became addicted to sex, and everything became sex. Every time I saw something, I would attribute it to sex because that's what my mind was given at that age. So it's weird to make adult decisions when you're a child and you have no idea what any of it means. Meanwhile, there's an adult out there that victimizes children. They're doing their selfish stuff. They have no idea what they're doing affects the children of tomorrow.
They really don't. Not at all.
and you don't, and like you said, sometimes you don't even realize it, but how it affects your like you said, everyday things, even your relationships with your friends and people out, and your coworkers, and it does affect you, and it affects you your whole life. And a lot of the times it's when you're adult, when like I said earlier, when you're adult, you can realize that wasn't someone cool hanging out with me, or something. Sometimes you mix that up because you don't know the magnitude of it when you're a child.
Yeah. And I didn't talk with anybody about it. And even though I felt affected because for me, it was my babysitter um, who took advantage of me. I was 7, she was 17, turning 18. So for like a whole year, she took advantage of me, and then she just dipped and disappeared. That's what kind of got me, was it was an abandonment thing because there was a bonding between us. And that's what I think is really scary looking back is some survivors, well, most survivors, I imagine, form a bond with their uh, abuser, and it becomes a very sick relationship because um, I don't know, because it's case by case. I can't say for everybody. At least for me, it became an abandonment thing. So when they all of a sudden disappeared, went to college, I'm a kid and I'm wondering, where's my friend? Where's this person? And now I'm trying to make a connection to fill that void, but that connection is very inappropriate. So it screws with kids, and that's not fair to anybody. And I think it's terrible, especially for when somebody's grooming a child. You're grooming them for a situation that is going to pleasure them for a moment, meaning the predator, but that moment is going to live with this child for the rest of their life, and they're not going to understand it until they hit a certain age. Like Brooke, you said it was like 52 is the average age. Where
Yeah, I read that. I read that somewhere. Yeah.
yeah, and I believe that. My mom was 66 when she passed away, and it was in her 50s when she came out and told me that she was sexually abused. And that's because we were helping a mutual friend of ours who was sexually abused. And one of the things that I realized was traumatizing is here she's in her 50s when she's telling me, and I'm breaching high school into college at this point. And she wanted me to be mindful of the decisions I make, who I hang out with, because it can ultimately affect the relationships I have and how that person will be after the encounter. She said, be the best person you can be, but be open-hearted to understand what other people are going through. And she never got closure. And she was born in the 50s. And she was molested in the 50s, not even 10 years old, same decade. She's born and abused by a family member. And in that era, and I mean, it's still a thing to this day where you can't talk about it without stigma following you, shame following you, even blame, all types of stuff. And her father was serving at the time, so he wasn't home. So my grandma at the time, all she knew what to do was sweep it under the rug. She believed her, but it was basically you have to be quiet and shush about it. Don't let people know. So for all those years, anytime something hit her in the heart, it didn't matter what it was. It swept up the emotions as if she was molested because she didn't know how to process anything. That's not fair to anybody nowadays.
No.
So I really appreciate what you guys do, because there's not many people. In what makes me sick, and I know it makes you guys sick too, is people who don't fight for their own kids when they are told, Mom, Dad, I'm being abused, or this person's doing something to me. What should I do? And then that parent just sideswipes it like it's nothing. What the hell?
Yeah, that's crazy. I never understood how a parent does that.
That's what we went through. We had a family friend who came to us with some abuse that their child's going through. She's like, I mean, it's no big deal. We stopped her right there. Excuse me?
Wow.
It turns out it was her boss abusing her daughter, and she didn't want to lose her job, so she was willing to let it slide. Nah, bro. That's messed up. Yeah, no, it was.
In my personal opinion, I feel anytime someone speaks about sexual abuse, it should be immediately believed until proven otherwise. I don't see how anyone could ever not believe anyone. That's terrible.
Yeah, I watch a bunch of the predator catching groups, and I love watching it because it's important to. This is the sad part. Predators are a everyday thing, but so many people ignore the fact of that. They don't want to believe it.
Yes.
And I watch it every day to be enlightened by the fact even though there's predator poachers, people that are willing to take a stand. Because I know you guys are dealing with the justice system not being the best where you guys are. Like, I forgot his name. The guy who just kind of sweeps everything under the rug, doesn't take what you guys do serious.
Yeah, we won't give them that.
And there's too many of that going on. And in my opinion, it's just as hurtful, if not more hurtful, compared to the crime. But to have someone not believe you or take what you say as a survivor for what it is, if you're not believed, I think that hurts just as much. because then it's like you just got stabbed twice.
Mhm.
Right.
I agree. It'll affect you. And I mean, you may never, that may have took everything you had to come forward, and you may never do that again because you weren't believed.
Yeah. I just came forward with my therapist recently, and it's because I ran into my abuser. She has no idea who I was. I held the door open at a restaurant, and this woman and her husband, I'm assuming it's her husband, come out with two kids, and she looked like my abuser, but it was the tattoo on her neck and shoulder that was the giveaway. And that's when it really clicked that I'm like 1 foot away from the person who changed my life or changed the trajectory of it for a time being. And she all smiles, all giggles. And in my head, I'm like, if you are who I think you are, does your husband realize that right when you hit adulthood legally, you were cool sleeping with 7, 8 year olds? Does he realize this? And you got two baby boys right here at the same age. I'm not saying you're doing anything with them, but you were an adult basically when you did what you did.
Mm-hmm.
Does your husband know this kind of stuff is in your head?
Mm.
It's creepy to think there's adults. You could be walking by one on the street and you have no idea what's in their head. They could be the worst of the worst predators. And that's what's terrifying. You never know who it is.
You're true.
Yeah, and a lot of studies show that, most pedophiles start having their pedophile feelings and start preying on, children and thinking like that in their teens. That's when they first remember, like, yeah, I thought someone that was way younger than me was sexy and attractive. And, it happens a lot. And they don't, maybe the predator doesn't think that they're doing something like that because they're still in that teenage, but they're still they're still sexually abusing someone and affecting them for the rest of their life. And it's crazy. I appreciate you sharing your story and speaking about it. And like you said, a lot of times you don't even realize the magnitude of it until you get older and you just start thinking about some of your childhood things, and how that affected you for your whole life.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. And just
no problem, Brent. If you don't mind, if I ask a question.
Yeah, sure.
So you haven't talked to her since she disappeared?
No. She up and dipped for college. I have no idea where she went. I just remember that the way I found out was because my mom was working for a doctor or a surgeon, so she was on call regularly. So sometimes when she leaves, it would be earlier. So I'd have 8, sometimes 10 hours with my babysitter. And just one day, she said, well, I'm going to have to take you to this new place. It's somebody that I used to work with. I was so confused. And she didn't even tell me why. She just said that that my babysitter had gone to school elsewhere. So it wasn't until way later I finally understood, but it was just a sudden change.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of, that's kind of like where you can see the sickness in it, because she just used and abused you and just took off, not really caring that. Even though a relationship between 17, 18-year-old with a 7-year-old is wrong, whether she's
absolutely
being loving to you or not, it's wrong, but she didn't care how you felt. She just dipped and left, and you're a kid, so you don't understand what's really going on. But she didn't care. She just used and abused you and just dipped.
Mm-hmm. And it's just traumatizing what it can do, because this is probably too much information, but my father had abandoned us, my mother and I, 2 years prior. So it was literally just me, and I'm an only child. So then my mom's working her ass off. So it's mainly just me kicking it with, some of the kids at school, but it was either home or school. That's all I was at. So when my babysitter came into play, that was finally a new connection. So I was forming a bond. I was happy to have some company, and she was my friend, and she was my neighbor. She was 2 doors over, so I knew her. But it already had a good friendship, but now it's stronger. And when, I don't know, like when a kid is happy with a friendship or a connection, they want to uh, make the most of it. They want to be pleasing. Like they don't want to be on their bad side. They want to be happy and enjoy things. And it's easy for a child to get groomed by a predator, especially if it's a dynamic like that where they're already friendly. And it was a neighbor, a family friend. So that's like the most dangerous thing is when you know them that closely.
Well, and that's what
Yeah.
predators do. They'll find them ways to get, to prey on the child, to get them alone and groom them. They set themselves in situations that they can, and it's scary that there's not, more. Well, there's a lot of things that we can talk about and help prevent, more things happening, but
Mhm.
it's hard to kind of catch those things with somebody you just think is friendly with your child. Like you want to think the good in people, and unfortunately, like predators
Yeah.
will take advantage of that person that thinks that they're like mentorship and stuff. You want kids to be mentored. You want to have that in relationships with your kids, and you can't even trust somebody because you never know what can happen or what their intentions are, and it's definitely scary.
Exactly.
Uh, another part of the question I wanted to ask: have you ever wanted to confront her and talk to her again, or is it something like you just want to just never see her again?
Um, to be honest, I've never really thought about confronting her. And I think a part of that attributes to the fact that at that time, I don't feel violated. I don't feel like I was shattered and left with confusion. The only thing that I was left with was the abandonment aspect, but I was already getting used to that from something prior. But in regards to confronting her, I never felt the need for it. But I know for a fact on that day where I saw her, if she recognized me and I felt that was in the realization that she knew who I was, then I would probably say something just to ask what drew you to do that. Because if it was, you can't say it was a in the moment thing because you took time to do it
Mhm.
and it took 2-3 months of you babysitting me to get to the point where you finally made it physical. And then from there, it was an additional 9 to 10 months of us being physical. You played it as an abuser. This was intricate. You planned this. You can't say it was an in the moment thing. So that I would have called her out on. But prior to actually seeing her, I never had the thought of it. But now that I know she's in the area, if I ever see her, I'd probably pull that card. I just want to be mindful that her kids aren't involved. But if her husband or someone that she knows is around to hold her accountable, then yeah. But I'm not going to subject her children to that confusion, especially if that's going to possibly break that family, because that's not fair to them. But
Right. Right.
And
it's
that's
Okay.
it's
that's
touchy.
it's interesting how you bring it up and how you describe your story, because I think it resonates with a lot of guys out there. You see it, we're seeing it a lot. Female teachers are abusing male students, and it's not talked about enough. But it's interesting because there is such a stigma with boys being sexual, that if you are getting abused, like you don't want to come forward, you don't want to, or you think of it, you put it in your head as it's something good. You're supposed to think this is something good, but really someone is actually abusing you, and
Hmm.
it's happening so much. And I think that your story and sharing that will resonate with a lot of people because they do, you know, categorize it as it was something good, because that's the stigma around boys and sex and being with older women and things like that. So
No,
just
definitely.
bring that up.
It's like I got into, I don't want to say it was an argument, but I got into a heated discussion with my ex at one point, and I don't even remember what it was about, but it led to where, because I told her that I was abused, and it's because during the time of me running into my abuser, I was in the relationship. So I was kind of numb for the rest of the day. And my ex called me out on it, like, what's going on? So I came clean and I told her what happened. And it wasn't even there was no compassion in the, wow, you went through this at 7. She said, I think you could put that on your resume. Got laid at 7. You were ahead of the curve. And I, I get that to an extent, but I'm like, I was 7. Nothing about 7 is supposed to meet sexual. What the hell?
Yeah, that's I mean, that's a sick person. That what did to you was sick. You're 7 and she's 17. You know, 17 is not a girl. That's so
Yeah.
fucked up. I mean,
That's the stigma with it, though.
Yeah, that's the stigma
Her
with it.
saying that is exactly how so many people feel, and why male, survivors don't come forward, because they don't want to feel like, that stigma coming.
Your hot baby.
Yeah.
And I'm all for
Horrified.
exposing predators, and definitely I encourage anyone who's been a victim of this to come forward. But I do get the stigma because, like, I haven't told anybody in my family. Like I never even told my mother, and I know I'm not going to talk with my family about this. Whoever my future partner is, I may tell them. I'm not crazy affected, but I'm not going to hold that from them. But one thing that I think would be more demeaning to me is if I was penetrated, or if it was by a guy, or like there's different things that could make the stigma feel worse, to where you have to keep it more secret from everyone else. So I can't say that I've had that. So I can't imagine the pressure that a lot of other people are under, male or female, but it's definitely as a guy, like I don't want people to know. But I know there's guys that have had worse. An old friend of mine, he was abused by his uncle, and I mean brutal, to where he'd be bloodied up after a session.
Oh.
And like luckily the uncle's serving. Like he's in prison. I don't know if it's for life, but it's because this wasn't the only kid he was doing it to. This was his own flesh and blood nephew. But then there was other kids involved. So luckily, I don't know if he is ever going to get out, but by the time he does, he's going to be so old. If he tripped and fell on the way out of prison, he'd probably die on impact. Cool with me.
Amen.
But I know my friend is jacked up internally, and he will never tell anybody. The only way I caught is because he had a nightmare about it, and he was swinging, like hitting me, because he thought I was the uncle. I was trying to wake him up. So I can't imagine what some of these guys are going through. But I definitely encourage everyone who's a survivor to find somebody that they trust to talk to. This is a good spot. This is a safe space where you guys created. Yeah. And I appreciate you guys creating this and what you're doing for the community, especially not just for protecting the kids, but helping people who've already been down that dark alleyway. You guys are shedding some light, giving us a chance to find our footing and where to go. So that's right. Huge.
That means so much to us for you to say that.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a good place that we made. A lot of people don't know who to talk to. I mean, I could imagine, how hard it would be to come to your family or friends and talk about that or whatever happened to you. It'd be hard for me to do that. So sometimes it's easier to come out to people you don't really know, strangers. I mean, so.
Yeah. And even though I haven't met you guys, I feel more close with y'all because we're on the same page of, all right, we agree who the enemy is. We agree where the negativity is and where we want to be positive. So I like the unity here. So I feel like we all family and I love it.
Oh, we are. And thank you. I mean, I love how you said it. Like that was such a positive way to look at it. Like watching predator catching, because like you said, there's so many out there, but it's nice to know that, there's some good people out there
Oh, absolutely.
about it. And you guys all in the chat you guys are our strength to fight. So I hope you guys all know you being there and sending these messages. It keeps us going, and we couldn't do it without you all. And it takes all of us, to fight this fight. And I'm just glad I have you guys on my side with us. So thank you so much for your kind words and sharing all that.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and thanks for the PCI hoodie. I appreciate that.
Oh, you got nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, I'll head off of here. I'm still in stream, so just keep at it, and I love you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, bro.
Love you guys.
Take it easy.
All right, later.
I still don't have a hoodie.
Throw some hearts in the chat for Finn. Thank you so much. Great conversation. I love that. That was eye-opening. I know
Everyone's
helped
teary-eyed.
yeah. That was beautiful. It was great for him the things he said, it opens it up, especially, a male survivor in his situation. You've helped so many people coming up here, and thank you. Just open up that dialogue, it's.
Yeah, I think that really shines light on, 14, 17, as far as ages. I think, honestly, a lot of things that I've watched and both partaked in, a lot of people start at that age, if not younger, as far as predators, and openly admit that. And so I don't think that makes it any less just because, you may have been one of the first in that situation or by their hands.
Yeah, and he made a great point about, even his friend, the predator, he was doing it to his nephew and other children. And we know that a lot of these predators have multiple victims. And that's why we encourage you as hard as it is, we encourage you to come forward, because you don't know who else you could be helping. You don't know who else that predator might be hurting at the time. And stand strong and use your voice and take back that power. I encourage that.
Yeah, because chances are, if they did it to you when you were younger, even if it was 20 years ago or so, chances are they're still doing it, or they at least would still do it. If some predators are more bold than others. Some predators are they're only like opportunity predators. They'll only do it if they have the opportunity to do it. But yeah, that's why coming out is important, because you could be potentially saving somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you being able to share your mother's story
That was
shines a lot of light, because I saw people saying it in the chat, but we all agree, and that was really swept under the rug back in the day, just as he said. And I think that's why that number right now is 52, is because a lot of those people are at that age. Hopefully that's something we can change.
Yeah, definitely back then, and we know now it's still being swept under the rug. And now we face even more challenges as parents and adults fighting against this, is the internet. Before it was just people they're coming in contact with. I shared this video a long time ago, but it was just a great analogy. I can't say it. Analogy for thank you for online predators. It was basically showing like a kid in a bedroom, and then 15 different men walking in. That one where they walk in through the house. Like,
what is it?
It's just like it's a commercial for like online safety kind of thing, and it's basically like their kids online texting, and then it just shows like all these men walking in and out of the house. Like that's how many they can come in contact with. Or it's just kind of eye-opening, because before, like you said, it's just people maybe at school or church or out, but now predators have access to your children like that. I mean, your child can be groomed so easily online too. And
I have a post that I'm making for tomorrow that you guys can get a sneak peek at, but it says that it takes 45 minutes for a child to be groomed by a child. That's the average time frame, 45 minutes. And that's believable. We have came in contact with plenty of people who have been less than 45 minutes.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. I mean, the guy I just started talking to, well, he's actually talking to our decoys plenty of times, but he hit up my new decoy, and I told him I was 12. And within the first 5 minutes, he's saying he wants to do sexual things to her. Within the first 5 minutes, thinks I'm 12. He's like in his 30s or 40s. I can't remember. I mean, and that happens all the time.
All the time.
That's not
And
that's
they
not
might
even
not
it's not rare.
And they might not even plan to meet your child, but they're going to corrupt your child's mind. They're going to send them explicit pictures and things that, even as adults, some of the things we haven't even seen. And your child can unsee that. They don't know how to, understand that. And your child, unless you've created that safe space for them to talk to you about it, they're not going to tell you. And they're going to try to cope with that and try to understand it when they truly can't. That's why kids can't do sexual things and do that type of thing, because that's a big adult decision. And that's why it's so important to create a safe space for your kid if they do open up and they've come across a predator, they slipped up into talking to someone online. Don't come down on them. Give them that space to talk to them and guide them through that and make them feel safe with you, because if not, I mean, your kids are coming in contact with hundreds of predators probably a year online.
Inevitable.
And that's a low number, but.
Yeah, I remember during one of our catches. It was during the Allen catch when we were at the mall. That guy was there with his, I think, 14 or 13-year-old daughter, and he was talking about. He had her pull her phone out, and she was showing us all the guys in her inbox. Did you see that?
I think I recall.
Yeah, she was like 13, 14, and there was just a laundry list of older dudes in her inbox trying to talk to her. Like,
That's
stuff
what
is real,
people
bro.
be
Like,
feeling.
this is not like,
Maybe checking these things and
yeah, this is not a random
putting
thing.
those
Like,
blocks and making your children feel comfortable enough to where they can, recognize those signs and come forward to you, and so you can contact the police. And
I mean, some of these stories tonight, they didn't really talk about opening up with their family right away, but a lot of times kids do want to talk to their parents and they will open up, and it's creating that safe space for them. And the best way to combat this, and I can't encourage it enough, is creating that space for your child to come and talk to you, and not getting them in trouble if they are talking to someone older online. It's not their fault. Working with them and because a lot of times they're going to think that this is cool, and this predator is going to groom them to where they think it's their fault, and they might not even tell you. And the big problem that's happening now is they're convincing these kids to send naked pictures to them and then use it against them and trying to scam them or blackmail them, or and once it's out there, we know growing up around our age, we always were told once it's out there, it's always out there, and it's true. Once that stuff is out there, it's always out there. And that's a whole nother thing that parents are battling now, is just online predators just trying to get nude images of your child.
yeah, for sure. I'm heavy on the safe space because, think about that. Eric said 5 minutes. 45 is the average from a statistic that I read. How many of you are giving your child, here's your hour of screen time? Here's your hour of screen time, and that's how you monitor. Can you imagine?
an hour is a long time. You could talk to 200 people in an hour. It could be really. There could be so many predators in your kid's inbox within an hour. And
where do you live? Can you show me a picture of your room?
yeah,
I'm wearing my race car shirt. Oh, can I see it? I bet it's nice.
right. And some of them will be like that. They'll groom them slowly, but some of them will just come straight out and just. There's been times where I'll say, I'm 12, and a minute later, they're sending a picture of their dick. Like a minute later. Like, there's times where I tell them I'm 10 or 9, and they still do it.
Someone asked, what is the matter of time that someone can be prosecuted for a crime that happened when someone was young? That's a great question and a great thing to talk about on the survivor stream. Most states, it's lifetime you can report. I think the majority of it, but
Yeah, if it hasn't been approved already, there's like a federal law that they're trying to pass, or maybe it was passed already. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then it's lifetime.
For everywhere,
Yeah.
because it was state by state, and like our state's what, like up until 31.
It used to
It
be,
was
but
32.
I think it is. I think it's changed here.
So it should be lifetime. So yeah, if someone knows that exact, please put it in here. You know,
I actually looked it up while we were talking earlier, and it got changed to lifetime for Indiana, I believe.
awesome. Yes.
Because I was really excited because before I had looked it up years ago, and it was like so many years after you turn 18 is what it used to be.
Yeah, it was like
And
30
I
years.
was surprised to see that they changed it.
Oh, thank you for looking that up. That's amazing.
Yeah, that must have been the federal.
Did someone want to join the stream? I think I saw someone said they don't know how to join the stream. It's that one. Maybe. Brenda, if you're wanting to join the stream,
I'll put it on Facebook.
you don't need StreamYards to join it.
Yeah,
You just click on the link and it will go to the
open it in
website.
Safari or Google Chrome, whatever you're utilizing.
It should just I don't know. I think
Sometimes
if you
it
just click on the
doesn't.
link, it should just open up. It just open up,
will.
right?
Sometimes it tells me to copy the link. And then it's
Oh, okay. Probably depends on what kind of phone you got.
Eric's trying to give tech support. We got you, Brenda.
Yeah, because they were.
Yeah, the House bill is 1004. It was initiated in 2019, eliminating the statute of limitations for child molestation cases, allowing victims more time to process their trauma
Oh,
and to seek justice.
that's beautiful because, like Brooklyn just said, the average age is 51. You don't realize this until you're older, and having that limitations was horrible was a horrible thing for people coming forward. So that's great to know it's lifetime. So, you know, you have the chance to report your crime and feel that you should. And like we were talking about earlier, predators usually don't only have one victim. There's probably several, and you never know who could help.
Yeah. Who was the law to give you a time limitation on how long you have to process your feelings?
Right.
I don't think that that's right at all. But yes, I do have one to read. Okay. My story goes back to 1992, before the age of the internet and cameras. I was in a shopping mall one Saturday afternoon, like kids did back in the day. I was 13 years old, just playing at the arcade. There was a man that came in, seemed very friendly, and I broke the rule of never talk to strangers, which we were taught as kids. He seemed harmless and nice, and we're just playing video games, I thought. He eventually left the store, and it was just me and my friends. I took a walk to the restroom, and as I was coming back, I ran into him again, and this time he grabbed me by the arm and said to walk with him or he'd hurt me, and he took me to an empty, out-of-order restroom on the other side of the mall and had his way with me. The longest few minutes of my life, and afterwards he said he knew me and knows where I live, and if I tell anyone, he would come after me and my mom. I kept this experience hidden until I reached my late 30s. To this day, it still affects me, and I struggle with PTSD and depression. I struggle as a homosexual male that this experience may have had something to do with it, and the nightmares go on from that day to the present.
Thank you.
That's
I don't know if you want your name shared, but thank you for sharing your story and writing that. And
Yeah, that's tough, man. That's a tough one. The threat that threat just makes me so mad, bro. Him threatening her like that. I'll come after you and your mom if you say anything. That's so messed up.
I mean, and that's all they have to say. One little sentence like that, and you will keep that down, and you will keep that. You don't. Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, and like you said, just, you know, your sexuality and having to have those emotions with that too. I'm so sorry you have to deal with something like that, because not only is it hard enough, coming out and then having, like you said,
Second-guessing
yeah,
yourself.
second guessing, right, and not knowing, and know that it truly was not your fault, and it's horrible that person took that from you. And like someone said earlier, it's crazy. Their few minutes of pleasure and how it will affect somebody the rest of their life, and it just how quickly someone can affect someone's life like that. And the justice system doesn't hold these crimes higher thing than they should. Sex crimes are not criminally, I feel like, justified sometimes, or harsh sentences and stuff.
And I feel like it would be really hard to not feel like that didn't shape you, because, I mean, in all actuality, trauma does shape our lives. So I completely understand that. Forgot to say I never saw him again, and I don't know what happened to him and if he did it again.
I would say, unfortunately, if he did that to you, like
Probably wasn't his first time.
the way he did it, ain't no way he's not doing it now or hasn't done it again.
Mhm.
I mean, hopefully he didn't. Hopefully he had like a come into Jesus and he's like, damn, that was fucked up. I shouldn't have done it. Never do it again. Hopefully that's the case. But I think everyone here probably assumes that he's probably doing it again. Because I mean, the studies show that most of these guys don't stop. I mean, if they're attracted to kids, they're always going to be attracted to kids. They're never going to stop that.
Yeah, I feel like it's something that, you can try to suppress, but I mean, just like any other suppressant, it's going to come out eventually. Once a predator, always a predator.
Yeah, I might have missed it, but Kevin, did you ever tell anybody, like growing up, like when you were a child? Like, did you try to tell your mom or speak out? I think we heard so many different types of stories tonight. Like this was, somebody
Different
just just coming down the street, like almost like a stranger type thing, and just interested to see. Thank you for speaking out. All those survivors that came on here were male tonight, and I'm just so proud of everybody coming. Yeah, it's a huge message showing, that it happens to everybody, and we need to start talking about. We need to start having preventative work. We don't want victims. We don't want to deal with it after the fact. We want to deal with it before.
Yeah. That's why I love doing what we do, bro. Like, I love blasting these dudes. I love getting them locked up. I love exposing them. I mean, look at what they do. Look at the pain they cause. Like, I love doing this, man. Like, there's nothing better than this.
Well, it's great because the predators, exactly what they're doing. They're trying to do something behind, a darkness, something so crazy, and we're just shining a bright light to it, and we're putting them out there, and you can't fucking hide. And that's exactly what they need. That's like their kryptonite, because what they're trying to do is be low key.
Yeah, because I'll never feel sorry for a predator. I'll never have sympathy for a predator, ever. None of them. There's no leniency. Like, there's been times where we will talk to a guy and we're like, damn, should we expose him? Like, we're not really sure just because of the situation the predator might be in. Like in the very beginning, sometimes, some decoys be like, he has kids though. You know what I mean? Like, they're not sure if they should go through with it, because you start to have sympathy for them because they have a family, they have kids. You know what I mean? They could hurt their kids if they find out, but it's just something that needs to be done. These guys are ruining other people's kids' lives. So
I go to therapy every few weeks and coping with it now. I kept it hidden for over 20 years. Do you think therapy is helping you, just having someone to kind of talk about it and just kind of get it off your chest, and kind of sometimes just talking out loud, you can kind of like figure things out. I know I'm a talker, so I just love talking about things, but sometimes saying it's different things click maybe and can help. And not everybody likes therapy. Some people don't like just opening up to somebody like that, but others, love it, and they couldn't, go day to day without talking to, someone like that. Right. They should feel lucky that it's. So that's why I always say I give them like a second chance to shape up. But really, it's we all know. In my personal opinion, they don't get help. They don't see. I mean, obviously, me just you gotta want help to get help, and these predators don't see what they're doing is wrong.
No, because they go to jail, get out, and they reoffend. How many times have we seen it happen?
Yeah.
Too many to keep up with.
All the time. There's been so many times where we talk to guys that we already caught and we don't end up catching them again because they're too scared to be, which is kind of like mission accomplished. Like if they're coming, a guy starts talking to our decoys again after we caught him, they'll talk for a little bit, but then they'll be too afraid to continue and meet or anything, which is good. So that means they're scared. So if they come across a real miner online, they might, in the back of their head, they're thinking it could be us.
It scares me though, because then I think about people in their everyday life.
But I think even though they don't want to meet up now, eventually that urge is going to get them, and they're going to eventually try to meet up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're going to get
Yeah. No, for sure. They're going to eventually do it again. But, at least we could prevent some victims, like maybe probably like 2 years down the road, they'll finally get the courage, or the urge will be too strong and they give in and they go get themselves a new victim. But at least in those 2 years, at least we could prevent. You see what I'm saying? Like,
exactly. Yep.
They're going to do it again. We know they are. We're never going to be able to stop them from doing what they're doing.
Yeah, we're trying to expose them so people are aware and they can protect themselves, because unfortunately we're seeing, as now that our cases are going fully through and through conviction, they are getting light sentences and they're back on these streets. So we need to, alert our communities of these individuals, because they're not in jail. I mean, they have access to our children. Now they're online and they can get, if you think a person gets on the sex registry and they just don't get online and that they're never going to be around a child, yeah, fucking right. Those motherfuckers got every app, and they got 16 phones in their closet. They've got different names they go under. They figure it out. So the sex registry is great. Yes, I'm glad that we have something that we can look up these people, and it's, it's amazing. But don't think like, the justice system basically is like, well, at least, they're going on the registry. That doesn't stop these predators.
No, because they're on the registry, but nobody's checking in on these guys. They're out there doing whatever the hell they want to do.
Yeah, we've caught plenty of people on the registry. Other catchers have caught plenty of people on the registry.
Yeah.
People days from being out of jail or prison or wherever they were serving their sentence. I mean, it's inevitable. They can't stop.
No, yeah, we saw. I mean, we went to that one guy's house that invited the little girl to his house on the registry, remember? And he had a phone, and he was like, "Yeah, I go in here."
You have to be a little more specific.
The one we did for APP.
Yeah, he was
we
like
sat
a
at his
week
house
out.
Forever. Yeah, he had just basically got out of jail. He was on a house arrest.
Oh, the guy in Lafayette.
Is that with the long stairs up
Yes,
the?
yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was registered sex.
He remembers the stairs.
Yeah.
Long ass stairs.
He had access to apps. It was on there, and
yeah,
no one was really. He was on house arrest. How was no one checking that?
Yeah, I mean, it's too easy. Even if they're checking on them, it would be so easy to hide a phone. All you have to do is give some cash to a buddy. Say, hey, go down to Walmart and get me a burner phone, or give me a phone for like $60, and then that's it. Then he has a phone.
He thought a child was being hand delivered to his house.
Yeah. I was just going to hang out.
I was trying to convince Eric and I that he was a good guy.
Right.
Yeah, I remember.
So is she trying to join but can't?
Yeah, if you can, you want to write the page too. We can read your story as well.
Who is it?
Brenda.
Brenda, are you trying to join? If you could, so when you click on the link, what happens? Maybe I could try to guide you through it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to get her on here.
Oh, Eric's giving tech support.
We could probably help
What
you.
kind of device you got?
Yeah.
Let me throw it back to my customer service days.
Yeah. Are you an Android or
Thank
an
you for
Apple?
calling.
I'm dead.
That was a funny laugh. You really laughed. But no, in all actuality, everyone that's came up here, thank you thus far.
This is
Yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you for allowing us to read your stories. And I mean, honestly, this is fuel to the fire for us. Every time we step in front of a motherfucker, it's for you guys. So
It makes me want to catch one right now
it really does.
because it makes me those fucking bastards. What?
Let's get y'all one.
Sure.
We're renaming
I do have one that wants to meet, but I don't know.
Ooh, yeah. Let's get him.
Eric, don't play.
I'm not playing.
Can we take a vote?
Huh?
I say we take a vote. Let's go catch somebody.
Don't play.
I mean,
I'll
he
die. Let's go.
wants it.
Yeah, don't play with our emotions, Eric.
he's ready, but I mean, I
Why
told
not?
him.
Oh, well, not, but don't tell me where.
Yeah.
Close or
Yeah, because y'all didn't
Close
tell
enough
me,
to
so.
drive and
Didn't you have someone that you wanted a video chat tonight or something?
tomorrow.
Oh, it was tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Brooklyn said, this is, every time we stop in front of a motherfucker, we think about your guys' stories. We think about when you guys were kids and you couldn't stand up and you couldn't say anything, and that fuels us to get these motherfuckers arrested and convicted and exposed to the fucking communities for the sick bastards that they are.
Oh yeah.
Okay, the iPhone.
Zane, you
So you got
be
copy
cracking
it.
me up with some of your comments, Zane.
Brenda,
I'll be seeing that shit. You be cracking me up.
Brenda, it says copy link. Yeah, you're on an iPhone. So it says copy link. You got to click on copy link and then go and open up Safari and paste that link into Safari, and that should work for you.
Yeah, copy this link. I'll send it again.
So I don't know how tech savvy you are and how not tech savvy you are. So you have to hold the link.
No, it says copy link.
Yeah, to copy the link. Oh, you just click copy link.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, copy the link and.
Listen to Mama. Daddy don't know what to do tonight.
I do know what I'm doing.
I'm just kidding. It doesn't ever do that when you try to join on your iPhone, or do you not?
I don't ever do that.
Yeah, like it opens up in Google Chrome automatically sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, trouble has arrived.
Wow.
Thanks for joining
Okay.
us. Thanks for coming for your support.
What up, bro?
And thank you to everybody.
Kyle.
Sorry.
He says somebody here too.
I know you keep hearing it go
It's
off.
the pizza man.
Oh, yeah. Let me move that.
No.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry. Whoops.
Ooh.
Eric's already got the Portillo's good.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Be kind. That's very sweet.
If y'all had Portella's onion rings, they got the best onion rings.
With the cheese dip.
The best.
Look,
all
put
right?
him on. He can't even give a shout out.
I
You know who found that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know. I had Portella's right next to my job
I didn't
for
believe her, and it was fire. Yeah,
5
it's literally
years.
right next to his
like
job.
5-6 years. I don't know how long it's been there, but
I'm like,
I didn't
right
know.
after
I never
put
knew.
it in the air fryer.
He right there, and he never knew.
Never went, and they
I-
got a drive-through.
I thought I didn't. I thought it was an Italian restaurant. It just looked like an Italian restaurant.
I want to go to Shake Shack. Have you been to Shake Shack right across from it?
Mm-mm.
Well, we went, yeah.
Portillo's is awesome. I just tried it for the first time when we moved, and I can't get enough of it.
Literally the best
You had-
onion rings.
You had the onion rings, right?
I've had everything on there so far, and it's all good.
Bro, them onion
And the
rings.
hot peppers on the hot dog. Oh,
Yeah.
I
I'm
see
telling
somebody
you.
on TikTok get like a bowl. It was like a bowl of like meat, like their meat or whatever.
yeah.
I'm trying to try it. See what it looks like.
Look good. See, a little beef sandwich. I'm starving.
Okay, Stacy, you're gonna have to tell me where the place is because right now, Portella's for me. Portella's is at the top with their onion
They
rings.
literally do not. You lose their crunch, like
Like-
from the top to the bottom.
Yeah, I stopped eating onion rings at Burger King. I'm like because every time I eat Burger King onion rings, I'm just like, what the hell is this?
There's nothing.
Onion rings.
I don't think I've had Burger King for like 20 years. I can't do it.
Dairy Queen has
Burger
good rings too.
Trash.
Where?
Dairy-
Spicy?
Oh,
I just said Burger King be trash.
I like
I feel like
that's
that's
some
something we used to eat a lot on the road.
Every time we see spicy, we're eating Burger King.
Very true.
True. I didn't think of that.
I swear. I get a little snack.
So half the time we're with her, we're at Burger King.
That's where she
It's,
lives.
uh,
She lives at Burger King.
Or the gas station.
So do we have anybody that's wanting to join? I don't know if who was that, Brenda? I don't know if she's trying to join still or
I
not.
think she was trying.
I mean we're still here, so you can keep trying.
How do y'all make so much
It's off
food?
It's off Post Road.
we love food, Brandon. That's why.
Oh, because we're from Indiana. That's the only thing you do is either drugs or you eat.
Some of them do
You
both.
Okay, all of it.
It's off Post Road.
That literally has nothing but corn. You get hungry. No,
I know.
Look,
We
Kyle,
farming. We want something to eat. Okay?
Kyle, you ain't visited enough to talk about Post Road, baby. You don't know
I
what Post
know.
Road got to offer.
You don't.
You've been here one time. One time and wants to catch on Post Road.
we were just oh,
That's like
he don't know where he's at.
that's like the middle of
He
Atlanta.
said, he was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go over here. Post Road. He's ready." We're like,
No, he didn't say Post Road.
Yeah, we just
"Oh yeah."
He didn't
we
say
just
Post
drove
Road.
to
He
it.
just said- yeah.
If you guys have ever drove on
Let him
Atlanta,
go.
Post Road exit, all the exits are lit up, beautiful, well groomed. Post Road ain't got a light. It's dirty, man.
And then we turn off the exit and we get closer to where we're supposed to meet this predator.
And
There's less and less lights as we get closer.
Literally.
And then we get to the spot. There's no light. There's like one spotlight.
And Kyle just
the
sat there,
one.
like,
she's like,
Alright.
ready to go.
Look, we're gonna have to meet. He's gonna have to ride a bike somewhere.
It's totally different though, like when you're going somewhere else. Because when we went to his neck of the woods, we were in some rough areas. Remember, we were out at
Yeah.
3 in the morning
Yeah,
with
we
some
were
meth head,
in the middle of Durham, North Carolina.
literally in a church, like a church fucking area. Like it was wild.
Gas stations, food places, all closed at 9.
Yeah.
That's how you know it was
Yeah,
bad.
it was small.
We couldn't get nothing to eat. We were starving.
And where else did we go when we
We had
were?
a Waffle House like 4 times.
Who was it we were with when we were walking around the church that one time? We had to walk through the yard. It was dark.
Oh,
Um,
with Creeps, Texas.
Yeah. Oh, shout out to him. I miss him. That was a
Cowboy
sweet
Chris.
guy. Yeah.
Um,
Cowboy Chris.
Oh,
I
yeah.
miss
I don't know
you.
where. I mean, I don't know. It was somewhere in.
Chris.
Was it
You guys were
Texas?
both very nice.
But
No.
we were just out.
Oh no, it was
yeah.
Illinois. No, yeah, it was
Yeah, it
Illinois.
was Illinois.
Illinois.
That's what I'm saying. When you don't know the area, you do
That
some
was so.
wild shit.
that
We
was
knew,
so
Kyle,
sketchy.
We could not do it.
But that one
At
that one
night.
catch with me
He
and
said, don't do Durham at night. This was the wee hours
It
in
was
the morning.
3
It
in
was
the
like
morning.
at a hotel.
Yeah, it was.
That dude was in his jammies.
Yeah. It
Then
was-
we pulled up at the light after we called him and he's smoking a cigarette, flipping me off. I was like, damn.
wait, who?
Remember the one guy that Kyle called again? That with the long hair?
Didn't
Oh, yeah,
say
yeah.
anything. Pull up next to him at the light. I'm like cussing him out, and he's just like smoking a Newport, flipping me off. Goodness.
I think the other real sketchy place was that catch with me and Shafiq with that woman that in the ghetto and that apartment complex with that woman. That woman came out the elevator. Now I know one thing y'all ain't gonna do. I was like, God,
You need to do like a clip of that and show it again. I don't think a lot of people
Put
see
that
you
in
and
the
Shafiq.
intro.
You
Yeah.
and Shafiq are
Put that in
wild.
the intro.
If y'all haven't seen
I don't
the
know.
catches with Shafiq and Eric, you have
Look,
got to watch.
You
it.
gotta
for
put
some reason.
Y'all don't know. I know what y'all ain't about to do.
Yeah.
With the lion.
Yeah.
PCI.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There we go.
I don't know why Shafiq. So for some reason, man, Shafiq like attracts the craziest catches, man. The
I
weirdest-
just saw a catch with you and Shafiq on Facebook. He like reposted it. and you guys go up to this guy's creepy like apartment. His roommates were on the inside of the door. And you were like, dude, do you have someone tied up behind? Like, are those people? Because the people were trying to get out because they're wondering what was going on. And you were like, is there someone trapped in your apartment? Because I'm being very serious. Like, I'm not joking. The guy's like, no. But the vibe was that this dude had people tied up in the apartment and were trying to escape.
He was like, shh.
Which
One that was
guy?
like, shh.
Him?
People inside- Yeah, and he was real like
Shafiq is
gave you
wild.
serial killer vibes in my personal.
Yeah, it was I think he called him serial killer vibes. Like,
yeah. In my personal.
Remember Shafiq
Please don't come.
went up to like the 16th floor of this guy's apartment. And he was
Yeah.
like, just come in, and dude was butt naked.
Butt ass naked. If you guys have
We
not
have-
watched Shafiq's, go support him.
I can't believe we have not caught a naked guy yet. That's one thing we've had to
don't
know.
jinx us.
Don't jinx.
Oh no.
I need to cross that
Somebody
off the
drop
list.
his-
Like we haven't
somebody
caught a
drop his
naked
link.
dude yet. Not that I want to see.
You
a
sounded very sad about that, Eric.
naked- I do. I set myself up for that.
They obviously went off live, but someone sent a screenshot of the dude just standing there like this. Just
We almost did. We almost caught a
looked
naked
like
dude.
a burnt piece of toast. He was just
Oh. When we were in Texas,
chafing.
when we were in Texas, we almost caught a naked guy. The plan was he was going to come straight to the house and take off his clothes, but we didn't have a house. We didn't have a house. I think Alex was looking for a house for us to do it in, but by the time we were done with our other catch, the guy ghosted, or I can't remember what happened. He just stopped talking. So like, damn.
That one dude too, where you guys followed that dude in the white pants forever.
So what?
He was like walking on the highway.
Oh
And he
yeah.
was like chasing him. He's like on the phone
And
with the
she's
police
like-
officer, and he's like, he's really out of shape, ma'am. He's huffing and
He
puffing.
He don't even do cardio, man.
Yeah.
He's on the
and
ground.
Eric's back there like,
And guys literally
Look,
like,
I was out of breath.
rolling.
I was out of breath, but I was.
He was really good.
And Shafiq's not even like
He was doing
breathing
that.
hard. Shafiq's just like, yeah, talking completely normal, but he was running with them the whole time. Like,
Eric was it was like a 4-lane highway, at least a 2-lane. And Eric was all the way
It
on
was
the other
4.
side.
Well, I got worried. Anytime a predator runs into traffic, do I get worried?
yeah, we're not.
I kind of stayed back, but she just kept going. I was like, bro, I'm not chasing him.
Yeah.
I don't want to get him getting hit with a car. Not that I care about his life, but we can't have a predator die. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I will stop a predator from jumping and going in traffic if I can. If I see he's about to hit the car, I will stop him and save his life.
Yeah, but it was
Just-
wild.
just so
It
you
was
know.
wild.
But yeah, that shit was funny.
I don't want to be an accomplice, okay? Well, you do what you want to do, but that's the type of shit you watch from a distance.
And I just want to thank everybody for being in here, coming to support the people that came up and spoke tonight. It was a beautiful stream, another beautiful. I know it's a hard conversation, but I always like having these because it is something so beautiful too. Because I feel like people connect in our comments and our chats. It opens up a lot of people. I saw one comment. Someone said that came from like a good household and just, they've never been around something, and they had a very fortunate life, and it opened their eyes, and that was a beautiful thing too, to kind of have that outlook and look into this stream and kind of open your eyes about the effects of child abuse and how it affects people for the rest of their lives, and why it's so important of what we do here at Prayer Catchers Incorporated, and why we continue to fight for survivors and everybody out there to try to put some kind of awareness out to the world of how dangerous online child predators are. And we just want to thank you, everyone.
This is a safe space. This is your safe space. Hope you never feel like it's anything other than that. If you didn't have the courage to speak tonight, we try to do this pretty often. Message us. We'll make sure that we make it happen sooner than later. And we appreciate you. Kevin, Finn, Sam, and our anonymous. Thank you.
Yes, thank you all. My ears ringing. Is someone talking about me?
Me and my.
Who said my name? Because it started ringing. I heard you. No, but
But-
it is great. I would go ahead, Eric.
We have caught women predators. Trying
Jill
to-
is a local lesbian.
The last one, yeah, Jill was the last one. Your local lesbian.
Your local lesbian.
That wasn't that long ago.
She's still in jail as a local lesbian.
she's
County.
she's Bluffton. She's your local lesbian.
Probably love
For
it.
now.
Honestly, she probably loved it in
Yeah, she
there.
probably
compared to-
She's
I don't know what she was.
she's probably
not trying to leave. She
Probably-
posted.
She's probably just mad that
She's-
she can't make TikTok from there.
She's-
In mob balls or pod balls, I mean.
she's punking someone for cigarettes right
Her
now.
and Heather are in there together.
She's punking Heather for cigarettes right as we speak.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my God.
I don't know.
She's
There's-
Oh, Heather's not in there.
No, Heather's with Patrick,
They
right?
have her classified
Heather's in the other jail.
female.
That's not us hating. That's just what's happening. That's just
Yeah,
right.
we're not slack.
But yes.
But
and it does
how
happen
many-
a lot, and there's plenty of news stories going around right now of female teachers.
Oh,
It's
so
just
many.
as prominent as it is in females. Anybody can be abused, male or female, and predator can be male or female. It doesn't, obviously we catch more males on our platform, but that does not mean that women are out here doing it.
Yeah, I think we've caught four or five.
Yeah, we've caught
Well,
a couple times it was with couples, so sometimes that's
It's-
how they will prey on
Yeah, like twice.
with a
Three.
guy.
yeah, I would say usually when you see female predators get caught by groups like this, it's usually because there's a guy involved. So they're like, it's a couple looking for a threesome. But it does happen when it's just the woman too. I mean, I think we've only caught one woman by herself. We almost caught another one, which I'm pissed off that she just ghosted. That one.
She'll see her day.
We turned it in.
Yeah, we turned it in. So did we turn it? Because we didn't get. Yeah.
They just aren't. They haven't been arrested for whatever reason.
Yeah. So I mean, there is plenty of them. Like, shit, I'm talking to like two of them right now.
And it happens. It just women prey differently on their victims. They're gonna do it in just like I said, the teacher role type of thing, or
It's always a
those kind of
teacher.
avenues. They're not necessarily on dating apps as much. Like that's not going to be kind of where they go after potential victims, but it does happen. I mean, there's all kinds of groups. Almost all the predator catchers I feel like have caught a girl, so definitely happens, just not to the magnitude of the guys. But it does not take away that they're not doing it as much.
Yeah, because I mean, females option in general is greater than a man. So a woman doesn't have to get on an app to find. That's why you keep seeing these teachers. You're seeing all these women teachers get caught. It's like teachers, babysitters, like stuff like that. Huh? It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
like the story
It's-
today. Yeah, like it was a babysitter, and that's how I feel like. And I'm so glad he shared his story, because I feel like that had to resonate with somebody, because there's probably people that don't even, like he was saying it, he didn't even understand it, and I bet that probably happens to a lot of young boys and like babysitters. It probably happens a lot that they're taking advantage of that role and taking advantage of a child. Yeah, most of the teenage boys are going to think it's bad. No, because society, it's that stigma again. Society makes it like, no, you should be proud you're out there having sex. And then so male victims have those internal battles with themselves, because it's wrong. So they're feeling this, but also society's like, no, you should be proud you had sex. And so then you're having this internal battle, and they have a lot of hurdles that they got to go through. And I just encourage more males to be more vocal about it, because it's happening to males and females, and you never know who you could help by coming forward and sharing that with somebody. Let's start changing that stigma. It's not okay. It is never okay. It is never justified for a child to be hurt.
No,
Thank you guys.
it's probably loud on the mic.
Oh.
It's probably loud. I was probably picking it up pretty good.
Well, you've been moving and grooving over there all night, so I'm probably picking you up.
Oh,
I'm making-
the mic's on?
Selena.
The mic's
aw.
on?
Yeah, we were calling your name in the beginning of the stream. Where were you?
Yeah. You should be good to go on the Book of Faces. Selena, and thank you.
And Brenda, I see that you said you couldn't get to work. We'll have another one, and reach out to us, and we can set it up where we can help you get on, the next time and work that through and have you on here. It's kind of, sometimes it is kind of hard with the StreamYard thing, so I'm not tech savvy either, so I didn't say nothing because I can't help you, girl. I wouldn't be able to get on here either. But we're always here.
Yeah, we can take the time to try to help you beforehand.
Yeah.
Just shoot us a message. Actually, preferably an email. That might be easier to find if you can.
And then I think before we go, we have one more story. I think Tiny wants to talk a little bit about why she joined our team. And yeah, I'll let you take it over.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I just wanted to talk about like why I even got interested and started, on the path of finding the group. And it was because, years ago, I think it was like around, it had to have been 2017-ish, 18, 19, I had started dating again, and my friends had convinced me to get on online dating because everyone was doing it. And I said, well, my options are limited. I work a lot and have family and stuff like that. So I gave it a try, and they'd made the accounts for me. And I noticed a very strange phenomena that people or men were messaging me, and I noticed a very, very large amount of them asking how old I was, even though my age was clearly posted. And at the time, I was only, in mid-20s, and I looked pretty young, and so I would say, well, my profile says, whatever it is, and they'd be like, are you sure you're not under 18? And I noticed like a very big trend of them almost convincing themselves that I was not of age, and they would very quickly become very perverted and say very strange things. And then I guess I didn't know, etiquette with posting, nephews and nieces and children pictures. I just threw up pictures that I thought were interesting and that were, adequate to my lifestyle. And I had started receiving messages about the juveniles that I had in my pictures, of whether I was interested in sending pictures of them, and A, B, C, and D. And I would it seemed like the only option I had was to report the profile, but I realized that wasn't quite solving the problem, because then I would see the same person on a brand new profile very quickly after. So I had started doing some Googling, and I realized it was such a bad problem. And I, eventually ended up, I think I found the group on, Facebook, and then obviously I switched over to YouTube and whatnot. And then I reached out to Eric to start decoying, because I realized what such a problem it was, and how easily, these people just get on these profiles to sort out whatever they're looking for. And it's just rampant. And I thought it was so crazy that they were so easily hiding behind a screen, and were so easy to say that even to a grown adult. I could only imagine what they were saying to children. And down the rabbit hole, I'd started realizing that, like, through my life, I had realized that I had been, catcalled or spoken inappropriately to, or things done inappropriately to me by grown men, more as a juvenile than as a grown woman. And I had started going back, and I've always gone to like therapy, just because I think it's a great thing for the human experience and adulting. And I'm a big supporter of counseling for everybody, for whatever situation you have. And I had started voicing this to my therapist, like, I think back on all these situations where it was so inappropriate. And I'm kind of in the middle of when the internet first came, and I saw, before and after. And I said there was so many inappropriate things online that were done and in person. And I really also believe that we advocate for talk to your children, because I can definitely say there were many times that my life was saved, or my mental stability or my trauma was swerved because of the things my parents had taught me. They had always taught me, if someone grabs me, you kick them in the ding dong and run. If someone says something inappropriate to you, you say, you get real loud and ask them to repeat themselves. Or if someone does something that makes you uncomfortable, you're allowed to leave the situation. So I really feel like our advocacy for talk to your children and look on their devices and see what's going on, because it really could save them. And I wanted to be a part of that. And I just felt like where I had worked before, I had seen so much stuff just get swept under the rug. And I had the opportunity to reach out, and Eric accepted, me to help decoy. And I feel like the work that we do really, really makes a difference. And I feel like that really started with where we work most, is on the apps. Like, I didn't even realize that even I had been subjected to, such vulgarity and attempted grooming, even by grown men as a full woman. I can only imagine the children that are on these apps out of innocence, and they're just kids, because kids are going to go and do, risque things because they aren't fully capable of understanding dangerous situations. So I just want to say thank you to PCI for allowing me to help, fight the cause that is the cause right now. So talk to your children, look on their devices. Like, they don't need any privacy on the devices. Let's just say that, like, whatever I would say, if it has a chat, open online and chat, the app shouldn't be on there. There's no reason why they need to be talking to someone from across the world at 13 years old. They can sit and talk to their friends down the street. There's no reason. So I just feel like the apps are a problem. Specifically, obviously, the dating apps, but now we're breaching even into the games. I mean, I myself will play, games on my phone, and in the chat group, it's just ridiculous. They'll be like, "Hey, is anyone under 18 in here?" They'll just put it up in there, and I'm like, well,
Yeah.
it's kind of a game that children and adults play, it's very strange. And if anyone finds anything like that on their children's devices, definitely, report it and do what you can.
Yeah. And there's no safe app for a kid, really. No game. I mean, anywhere where someone else can message you, like, there's predators on there preying on your kids. 100%. I don't care what app it is. It's not just, obviously not just dating apps. It's on Instagram, Facebook, normal apps that normal people have, that aren't looking for any type of romance or nothing. Like, I would say Instagram and Facebook is worse than the dating apps.
Yeah, just like someone said something about Omegle, which they shut that down. But there's obviously they put new ones up all the time. But those apps, like, we don't even decoy in those, but those are really what a lot of kids are getting on. Just to, you'll even hear kids like, "Yeah, there's just a bunch of dicks on there." Like, they're even seeing it, and so obviously predators know that, and there's predators that are out there that will get their rocks off just having kids see them or something. The kid doesn't have to respond to them by any means, so they'll get on there and prey on them. And we're not even on those, but they're I hear about them all the time. There's another one that just popped up. I can't remember it now, but even those, yeah, you're watching. And you brought up another good point about the cat calling. I think me and Brooklyn's talked about this before. I didn't realize some of the stuff. Even doing this, I think back to things when I was underage and how people talk to me and call me jailbait and things like that. That word, when I hear it now, it's so triggering. Yeah. It burns me. Like, why would you even think that was a funny term, like jailbait? And when I'm decoying and I hear it, it's like, it's a predator if they're using that fucking term. I'm sorry. If you're using that term and you're not a predator, you might want to drop it out of your fucking vocabulary. But
I
Yeah.
remember just like walking home from school and grown men would pull up beside me and my friends and try to talk to us. And I'm like, nowadays, like I can walk down the street just fine. Like, you know, and if a male talks to me, it's like, hey, can I get your number? Or, oh, you're taken, no big deal. But I remember being 12 years old and men pulling up beside us walking home from school. And luckily, I was taught, like, if a car pulls up, you get as far away from the car. It doesn't matter if they're asking for help me find my puppy or I'm lost. A grown adult never asks children for directions. Like, you know, I feel like just talking to your children is best.
Yeah, we see that a lot with our predators. That will like decoy them as a of age decoy, and they won't talk sexual to the decoy, but the underage decoy,
Yeah.
they're
All
graphic
the
as
time.
fuck. Like,
The was Steven I caught twice.
yeah.
So Steven, I caught him first time. He was talking to a 13-year-old decoy, and he was going to hang out with her and her 12-year-old friend. And he talked sexual, was going to do sexual things with both the decoys, was going to get alcohol and get him drunk. Caught him. Then 2 years later, he did start talking to another decoy, another 13-year-old decoy. And then he's talking sexual, then wanted to talk to her friend who was 12 again. So it was the exact same scenario, except for this time he started talking to the 12-year-old too. So he was talking sexual to these minors, right? But he's just too afraid to meet, so got an of-age decoy on him. Oh, he also talked about drinking with the second pair of minors too. So he was going to do sex with them and drink with them. But then here comes the of-age decoy, which was 18 or 19. Didn't talk about sex, didn't talk about drinking, but both pair of minors, he talked about sex and drinking. Like, what the hell's wrong with this dude? And it pisses me off that nothing's gonna happen to that dude because
he doesn't seem cooler to someone age. He seems more, more powerful to someone younger than him. That's terrible.
Yeah.
And when you're that young, I remember back, no one could have told me anything. I had a crush on this guy that was like 21 when I was working. I was 16. He was like 21, 22. He would flirt me, and I thought it was the coolest fucking thing. You could never fucking tell me that motherfucker was a pervert, like a predator, nothing. I thought he was fucking awesome. And I look back and I'm like, that motherfucker preyed on me. He knew that I looked at him a certain way and that he could take advantage. I mean, and he would make those comments to me, oh, you're jailbait. I can't mess with you. You're jailbait, or I can't date you, things like that. And it's just like, that's why it's so important to just talk with your kids and have that safe space where they feel comfortable with you. Because I'm telling you, you can sit there and yell at your kid all you want, and you can be like, don't talk to them. That's not going to resonate with your child. And we all should know that because we were children once, and it wouldn't have resonated with us. So
I think when I was like barely 14, I was like 13 or 14, and I remember an older male taking interest in me who was at least over 21 years old, and it was a family friend. And I remember this was kind of before internet, and even before all these apps and stuff, he would write me letters from wherever he was at. I don't know where he was at the time, and he had asked me for pictures, like my school pictures, and I said no, but my family had sent them to him anyways. And I remember he wrote me a letter and was like, I put it up in my, barrack or whatever, and he was like, all the guys talk about how hot you are and want to know if they can write you too. And I remember just crumpling the letter, and I was just so disgusted that, and I could see where like someone who anyone could have been like, oh my gosh, this older man, like this cute boy is interested in me. And now me, I was like, you know what I'm saying? I was not interested in I wasn't really interested in boys until almost in college. Like I just wasn't interested. But I just remember him, like that was so weird that he felt so comfortable in a letter telling me that all these grown men in the military, well into their 20s, were looking at my school picture posted up on a wall, and it just made me feel so disgusting. And I told my family, like, you are not to distribute pictures of me without my permission. Like, don't do that, and I feel like they should have picked up that something was wrong, but it was just never discussed, you know. And I think since I wasn't responding to the letters, he just quit sending them. But I never heard from him. I don't even remember his name or anything, but that's the reality of it. I realized that he was grooming me, and I could see where people could fall into that trap of years and years of grooming could have led to some kind of abuse if I would have fallen victim to his.
Yeah, it's a form of abuse. Abuse comes in all different, forms, shapes, sizes. So.
And they're doing that to your children online, and it's not a letter that gets sent out and there's proof. It's like on a device and you don't even know who they are. All they got to do is delete their account. If you call the cops are like, well, it's just a ghost account, there's nothing they can really do about it. So these people will send, if a male that knows his identity is willing to send, hey, like, we all think you're hot, and a letter with physical proof and an address on it, think of what they're sending to children behind the screen.
Came leaps and miles. The internet, technology. It's crazy. I mean,
and the wall's not keeping up with it.
No. It was MySpace back in my day.
AIM chat rooms.
Yeah, you met people on MySpace, and you could
the
have
AIM
pictures, but our phones didn't send live pictures. We couldn't video chat people at that age. So,
I was in the AIM chat rooms. 19 from Florida.
I'm
like 12 years old. Like
ASL.
Right.
The kids are doing it, and people will say that about us. Like, kids don't get on. Yes, they do. Kids get on there and they do that kind of stuff.
Hell yeah, they get on there.
It takes kids make mistakes. You might get mad at your parents and be like, I do want to go hang out with Bob because I'm mad at my parents. You're stupid. You're a kid. You do dumb things, and that one chance,
It's the way that you have conversations with your children. You should start them early. If you wait and your child is 15, 16 years old and you're just telling them blatantly, don't hang around that person because I don't want you to. They're going to do it. The percentage and the chances of that happening is going to be extremely high. And in all actuality, you're setting your children up for failure by doing that.
And about the chat rooms, man, we get on Kick and there's so many teen chat rooms on Kick. I'm telling you, every single one of them, because when you look at the chat rooms, you can look to see everybody that's in the chat room, so you can see the profile picture. You can see the profile picture of everyone that's in there. Every single teen chat room that's on Kick, there's almost more adults in the chats than kids.
Yeah.
Like you
they put their full picture on it.
Yeah, they'll put their actual. So you're looking at this. You're looking at the front of the chat room. You can see everybody's picture who's in it, and it says teen chat at the top, and you're seeing this dude that has a full gray beard, this dude that's clearly 30 something, this dude, like you said, it's just crazy.
Yeah, you see the people in there, there's 15 children and 40 grown men. Yeah, it's wild. Okay, let me tell I'm going to tell you my MySpace story. I don't even think I've ever told you guys this.
Oh, okay.
And then we can be done if anyone else has anything to say. But anywho, talking about MySpace made me think of that. But like I said, back in my day, we didn't have live cameras, video chat. We didn't have access to those things. So you would make a MySpace account. And on MySpace, you would talk to random people that you never knew from across the world. And I just so happened to do that for 3 years of my life. Who was supposedly a boy my age. And I got contacted one day by a woman, and it was a 25-year-old woman who was posing as a man.
That's different.
Online, posing as a young boy for 3 years.
That's crazy.
Would send me pictures. I don't even know whose pictures that they were sending. Talked on the phone all the time. Had the voice of a man, identified as a male, but was a woman.
Oh my gosh! See, that's wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that just made me think of it. Honestly, I haven't thought about that in a long time, but for some reason that just made me think of that. But yeah, that did happen. So I got catfished and groomed. for 3 years of my life. I was like 15, 16, 17. Obviously, we could send photos, so photos were sent, photos that should have never been seen by a 25-year-old woman. So,
And that's what happens so
and
often.
then the
is
person
that,
who called, I think, was her. Now that I recall, I think it was her mom. Said that she had done this before, and basically exposed her to me. It's wild.
oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah, so we can add
It's
that to
fucking
my
crazy.
list of reasons why I fucking hate these motherfuckers.
Why you're out here?
That's wild.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they'll do that. These predators will sit there and act like, how old are they? You said they
25-year-old girl.
Did she say 25?
No, she was
You said your
acting the
age.
same age as me.
Yeah,
So like 15,
which was
16,
15, yeah.
17.
Yeah, we see that a lot too.
Did you ever contact her after? Did she try to like talk to you about it? Did you see what she looked like? Like,
That was a terrifying experience for me. So no, I never spoke again. No, I was weirded out.
Yeah.
and I feel like
And
children.
supposedly they lived in Hawaii, and they really did live in Hawaii. But yeah, it was wild. It was a crazy experience. And I haven't thought about it forever, and now I'm sitting here remembering all these things.
Now things are
Yeah.
I feel like children don't understand that those pictures are as illegal. I feel like sometimes parents try to sugarcoat things and explain to them without just saying what it is. Like, hey, please don't send pictures because it's bad. You shouldn't do that. Hey, it's illegal. And it's illegal for a reason. And pull it up on Google and show them, like, hey, if someone asks you, it's not my rule. It's the government's rule, and those people can go to prison for 20 to 20, 40 years, like whatever. Like, it's not just me being the parent. This is a universal rule. There's these rules that are just rules. It's not like I'm doing this just to whatever, like I feel like if kids understood the reality of crimes, and that you're like, I know that I have a book and I have it printed out. I'm like, hey, I blame it on the book. I'm like, the government says this is a rule, you cannot do it. It is not me. Like, this is a universal standard rule. Like, and whoever, you don't get in trouble, like you're the victim, but like these other people do it because it's illegal for a reason, because they're doing stuff.
Yeah, Be Kind said right, and explain why. Kids want real reasons. Exactly. You have to give real life examples. I think that resonates with kids a lot too. Is showing them an example. But yeah, with that's a great point. Is just showing them it's illegal and you could get in trouble, and how devastating that would be for them to get in trouble for making that mistake. Because when you're a kid, you don't think like that. You don't think you don't think it's gonna be out there forever.
If I would have came forward and told my stepdad, he would have been like, well, you're fucking stupid for sending the pictures.
That's how most, and unfortunately that's how most parents would react.
Because I would
why are you
already
taking
be
those
in trouble.
pictures?
Texting was just now becoming a thing. We used to have minute phones back in the day, so it's, why are you sending 15,000 video messages and picture messages and so I think that was already a question to begin with, but it definitely wasn't talked about, and it could have been.
I was there. It was horrendous. The Wild West of Yahoo chat room. You're exactly right. We all been. I mean, really, like that's why we talk about this, because a lot of people don't talk about this. But like even like when we're having conversations, we have a lot of similar things. Like we're like, wow, that happened to you as a child, and you did this, and it's happening. We just don't talk about it because sex is such an uncomfortable conversation for so many people. But a lot of the unknowns, it's better to talk about it and present that information to your kids, age appropriate conversations with your kids to protect them, so they don't have to go through these experiences of being groomed online and slipping up and sending a picture or meeting up with them or something happening.
It was cool to do that, back in the day.
It was the cool thing.
Yeah.
Everyone was doing it.
My parents didn't grow up on the internet, so we really were the tester course, if you will. and the 90s, the 90s babies. And
That is true.
the 90s babies are going to save all the other fucking babies because we know the dangers because we've lived through them.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's hard to like tell your kids that you've done bad things because you want them to like respect you, but sometimes it's good to say, hey, like this is also a rule for me because something happened to me. I messed up, like, and it could have gone badly. Like, they're gonna respect you more if
Yeah.
you say, like, I have experience with this, and I don't want something bad to happen to you. If you can explain, like, get on their level and just be human and say, hey, like, just like with the story, like, I was on the first type app deal and some bad stuff happened, and it can happen to you too.
For sure. Like I said, our parents they weren't able to give us those warnings because they didn't know. But we know, we've been through those, so.
I recently
we
had.
don't even know. That's what's scary. It's even more. It probably goes deeper than what we know that we can't control. So we gotta all band together. This community, everyone watching, we all gotta help each other figure out the modern ways these predators are preying on our children online.
And I feel like going back to the story before, like I recently had a male friend consult in me with some things that had happened to him, and he felt like it wasn't a big deal. Like he was almost telling me the story like it wasn't what it was. And I said, if that was a female, or if that was, even a child a couple years younger, what would that be called? Like what would you consider that? And he was like, rape. And I was like, you were ultimately sexually assaulted, raped, like groomed, like all the above. If it would, just because you weren't female and just because you were slightly older does not mean that's not what happened either. So like I kind of felt with that story because someone just told me that, and it all started with friends online.
I agree. I think people look at, like 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, when you're in a close proximity of age, they think, maybe it really wasn't that. But in reality, that Finn explains that in his story and as he spoke, because there's a major mindset difference, okay, between a 2-year age gap, 3-year age gap, 4-year age gap. A 17-year-old knows that they should not be with anyone, younger. That's just common sense. You know that. You're taught that. I'm sure your parents have said that to you. I'm sure you've learned it in school. I mean, back in the day, in the 90s and 80s, we watched those homemade videos that said all of that, information, all that statistical information, and we laughed and joked about it, but it's fucking true. You knew. They know.
And these people online can even, I don't know, I'm sure you guys have seen it before, where they will be friends with multiple decoys because real predators with this specific person I'm talking about befriended a group, and this person couldn't come forward because they're like, well, it's a friend of the group. And even to this day, like I had to explain to them, you don't have to be around that person just because it's your best friend's best friend, or y'all went and got tattoos together at some point. Like they do not have to be, you never have to see them again. And you don't have to explain why. You don't have to tell the other boys. You don't even have to give a reason, and it was really sad for me to find out who this person was and how manipulative they were into this group of friends and had done this to them. And the perpetrator was a female. She had befriended a group of boys and had ultimately raped multiple of them on many occasions. And I was like, why do you all think that it was almost like a joke or whatever? And he didn't want to come forward and say it had happened to him. And I was like, well, that's how they do with the online too. They'll get on a little girl's profile and just start friending all of her friends. And if he's cool with one of them, he'll be cool with all of them. And like however they do it, like, and if they see that someone's adding them and they have mutual friends, well, if they're friends with 3 of my other girlfriends, and this person might be okay to talk to, but it's actually a total stranger.
Oh yeah, there were so many times when I was
That's
younger.
helped a lot in our cases, actually, by catching these motherfuckers, because we'll go out all their fucking friends, or we're friends, so they believe that You know, oh, there's a real child. She's friends with another child I know.
Oh, so you're saying it helps you because they think
Yeah,
the
vice
decoy
versa.
is real.
Yeah, because what you're saying is the truth, and it's reverse psychology to catch these motherfuckers.
I see. Well, that's what they get for praying.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Yeah.
they are on there and they are prowling.
All hours of the night, never ends. But I appreciate you guys all coming on here. Seriously, everyone. Again,
Yeah.
Kevin,
wrap it up.
Ben, our
Sam.
our anonymous. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
And
Tiny.
thank you, for talking.
Brooklyn.
Thanks for letting me talk, guys. I feel very included.
We may not all relate into this as far as come here with the same exact story. We all have stories and we've all experienced it in different ways and forms. So, we're a great community and I love what we have here. So,
Yeah, we'll probably wrap it up here. Thank you to everybody who joined. We'll definitely have another one. We'll definitely keep talking about this. We're never going to shut up. No matter how much a particular person wants to shut us up and try to shut our organization down by suing us, we're never going to shut up. And I'll always have my voice. You might be able to stop the organization, I guess, on paper, but you'll never shut us up, and we'll continue to stand up for victims and survivors and stand up against online child predators. We'll never stop. So, and that's all. Thanks to everybody in here, and thank you. Eric, do you have anything to say before we jump off in the team?
Not really. I mean, thank you for everyone that came on here and put yourself out there and shared your story. We appreciate it, and I know other survivors appreciate it too. So I'm sure you're helping a lot of people get through whatever they're going through, just hearing your story. So, and for next time, anybody else that has a story, man, come on in and we'll hear you out, and everybody will appreciate your story and safe space. Don't be scared because it's something that a lot of people are going through, but yeah.
It opens up our eyes. So many different stories tonight. So many different perspectives.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
for sure.
appreciate you guys. Love you. I'm hugging you all.
And now let's do a group hug. Oh, I love all you guys.
Now on the way out, Alexa, play "Take That Shit to Trial," bitch.
Bye, guys. Love you guys.
I said bye.